Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to Beer Geek Nation. I'm your host, Chris. Thank you so much for joining me once again. Wow, that was dorky. But anyway, guys, tempting fate again. I'm going in for another Mikkeller beer. This one just came out, so I've heard nothing about it. I don't know what to expect from it, but I see it and I have to get it. I gravitate towards Mikkeller beers. I guess it's a love-hate relationship, but this one is their Beer Hop Breakfast, 7.5% alcohol by volume. It's an imperial oatmeal stout brewed with coffee, and then he hops the hell out of it. If you guys have ever had any of the Beer Geek, he did the Beer Geek Brunch series, Beer Geek Breakfast, Beer Geek Brunch Weasel, Beer Geek Bacon. It's basically a really solid imperial stout that he brews with, and then he just adds different kind of characteristics to it. All of them have been pretty good, a lot better than some of his other stuff. I think he has a really solid base with this beer, so I'm kind of excited about this one. I've never had a really hoppy beer from Mikkeller that I've been crazy about. So with that said, let me get into a glass, see how it smells, tastes, and give you the verdict on Mikkeller's Beer Hop Breakfast. All right, guys, so the appearance on the Beer Hop Breakfast, just what I would expect. Very similar to some of the other beers in this series. Dark as night. There's a slight brown at the bottom where the light's getting through. Can't really see anything through it. It pours really thick. There's about 2 fingers of it's an off brown, a very light brown type of head on there. Nice alcohol legs on there, not too aggressive, but there's a lot of really good head retention and head lacing on the glass. Nice carbonation, which is a step in the right direction, I might add, for some of the other Mikkeller beers, but just a very typical looking imperial stout. All right, guys, the aroma on Mikkeller's Beer Hop Breakfast. But I'm getting some citrus in there, lemon notes. There's a nice kind of lemon peel flavor. Definitely getting the roasted character in there from the imperial stout characters. A slight kind of dark chocolate bitterness, a slight espresso kind of character. There's a smokiness to this beer that you don't get in a lot of imperial stouts, but in the Mikkeller Beer Geek, whatever series imperial stouts, you definitely get that, and that is present in here. Definitely smelling some of the alcohol in there. But it's got a really nice hop flavor to it. It's, a very West Coast kind of piney, citrusy flavor that blends pretty nicely with the roasted characters. It's an interesting smelling beer. All right, the taste on the Beer Hop Breakfast. Cheers. First taste is of hop bitterness. It really is. It's a very West Coast kind of astringent hop bitterness too. Pine needles, big citrus notes, grapefruit juice definitely coming through, and astringency in this one. Middle of the tongue, you start to get more of those kind of, imperial stout flavors, dark chocolate, espresso. Definitely a lot of roasted characters in this, to the point of almost being a touch smoky. Just a little bit of smokiness. The finish is actually what's really interesting in this beer. Some of the other Beer Geeks beers have been a sweet finish. This one's really dry, almost to the point of being like a West Coast kind of IPA. Nice dry finish, aftertastes of that coffee, dark chocolate, roasted notes, blends really nicely. It actually highlights the hops they use in this one really nicely. Kind of just elevates them, almost, kind of brings them out more, because you have these dark notes and these really bright citrus notes, and they don't exactly blend together, but they kind of compare and contrast really nicely, and they enhance each other rather than blend together. So it's actually really interesting what he did. It's actually a really impressive beer, to be honest with you. All right, guys, so the final verdict on the Beer Hop Breakfast from Mikkeller, 7.5% alcohol by volume. It's a limited release, so get it if you can. Just came out pretty recently. I got to give this one an A-. I got to tell you, I'm actually really impressed by it. It's one of the more interesting beers that I've had from Mikkeller. It reminds me a lot of like a black IPA. A lot of thought went into this beer. That's probably what I can say about it. I hope a lot of thought went into this beer, but if you haven't had a black IPA, I would recommend. This is a really good jumping point for those. Hoppy Imperial Stout. This reminds me a lot of Goose Island's Night Stalker that came out a few years ago, another Hoppy Imperial Stout. So with that said, guys, really good stuff. I'm going to give it an A-. Definitely worth the price. It is a bit pricey, but definitely worth it. So with that said, guys, remember, life is too short. I drink amazing beers. Cheers.